There is an 8-lane road around our neighborhood, not suitable for a small town like ours. Of course, not many vehicles pass by on the road. Road without speed camera. People drove well above the speed limit. One midnight, there was an accident. A girl who was passing the road was hit by a vehicle. It was a hit and run. A few hours later, the girl was found by a car passing by, but deceased on her way to the emergency. Doctor said if she had been taken to the emergency immediately, she could have lived. Soon after, a wanted list with high bounty to find the suspect was hung. I called the number.
Hello? Yes, I saw what happened.
In fact, I witnessed nothing. All I wanted was the bounty. I was definitely not proud of what I did, but still needed the money.
Did you really witness the accident?
Yes,
Any pictures or videos taken? We need evidence.
I don't have any.
I was nervous and felt that I won't be getting the money. Then, I recalled an officer from the news saying that a white-colored broken piece of bumper was found on the crime scene. I said,
I certainly saw a white vehicle. I guarantee it was white.
I see. Have you called the police?
Not yet. I'm still not sure of the plate number.
the guy over the phone seemed to be in deep thought. Then,
I'll see you at the crime scene after the midnight.
Midnight.
Yes, you might recall something else from seeing the crime scene at the exact time of incident. Oh, and don't tell anybody else. If the word travels, the suspect might get away for good.
meeting a stranger in the midnight was creepy, but I had to. And I never thought of telling anyone about my lies anyways. As the man said, I went to the crime scene in the midnight. A vehicle was hitting the road toward me. Quickly. Fortunately, I was found and saved by a vehicle passing by. I told everything from the wanted list to the phone call conversation, but the police couldn't find any evidence. Who were the hit and runs? There is a small playground nearby my apartment. Around sunset, a kid who lived upstairs always played with the sand alone. His parents then dropped by after work to pick him up. It seemed like a daily routine for them. The kid's parents both had 9-to-5 jobs, and they seemed like living in a world where only happiness exists. As far as I remember, they were always together. One day after work, I saw the kid playing with sand as usual. He was banging on the sand and mumbled, "Cockroach, cockroach." I asked him if there was a cockroach. He replied, "This is how my mom killed one last night." I thought it was kinda cute, thinking many kids copy exactly what their parents do. In a bit, the parents showed up and took the kid home. They still seemed good as usual. Next day after work, the kid was playing alone again, and I approached. The kid was hitting the sand with a fly swatter, mumbling, "Fly, fly." I asked the kid, "Is that how your mom caught flies last night?" He nodded. I thought it was adorable bringing fly swatter to the playground to imitate his parents. In a bit, his parents showed up as usual and took the boy home. Seemed happy as usual. Next day, the kid was there, playing alone. I approached to see what he's doing, and this time, I couldn't say a word. The boy was stabbing the sand repeatedly with a knife, mumbling, "Daddy, Daddy." Soon after, it was just the kid's mom dropped by and took him home. Since then, I've never seen his dad again. There was a psychic who once surprised the world. He didn't say a word, but only marked the map with circle. Surprisingly, the circle on the map pointed out the exact location of robbery, lost wallets, and clues for crimes. One day, a couple visited the psychic for help to find their child who ran away. The psychic looked at the couple for a while, and then shook his head slightly. The couple criticized the psychic and called him a fraud. The psychic had no choice but to open the map. The psychic showed the marked map, and the couple could close their jaws. There were dozens of circles marked on the map. This happened while I was employed in the previous company. The company was located in the newly developing city. There was an underground passage between the train station and the company, which was the only way to get there. There were always homeless people taking naps or begging for money. It was quite stressful to the people walking down the passage, seeing those drunken homeless people picking fights or insulting people. Some called the police, but the homeless disappeared only for a few hours. Then the underground passage was again filled with them. In summer, something even more disturbing than their aggressive behavior was their smell. Without taking the shower for months, the passage was filled with unspeakable stench. In many aspects, walking down the passage was extremely troublesome. However, people were too scared to take any action, worrying that people with nothing to lose are not afraid to do anything. One of the days of hot weather, a new colleague joined our company. She was freshly graduated from university, full of passion. Everyone liked her energetic attitude. However, she still had some trouble with interpersonal relationship with being too firm or stubborn. She had to use the passage like others, and had called the police several times to report the homeless people. Despite the efforts, there wasn't any progress to the circumstance, and the colleague started to complain to the homeless directly. She said that their presence and smell makes people feel uncomfortable and suggested them to go somewhere else. Unlike crowd's expectation, homeless people didn't react much to the complaints. They were just staring at the colleague, criticizing the way they lived. The next day, something unbelievable happened. The troublesome homeless were all gone, and everyone in the company thanked her. Even the police officers couldn't solve the issue. People wondered how she managed to convince them. She didn't know how she did it either, but telling the truth about their presence perhaps touched their last remaining piece of pride. It didn't matter as long as they were gone. Everyone was excited that the passage will finally be clean without those troublesome homeless. As days go on, the disgusting smell started to fade away. One day, everyone in the office could smell faint stench. It was quite familiar. Even in hot weather, people opened the window to refresh the air, but the stench got worse the day after day. A few days later, people found the source of stench. It was from the new employee's cubicle. As colleagues accused her of the smell, she denied and doubted one of the colleagues for the stench. A few days later, her body started to smell the same, and people in the office kept some distance to avoid her. For the first time, she confessed to the colleagues that her entire home was filled with a disgusting smell. Neither doing laundry nor buying new clothes didn't solve the problem. Even after countless cleaning of the house and using full bottle of perfume, the smell didn't go away. After all, she quit her job and moved. Not long after she moved, the homeless people reappeared in the passage, and it started to stink again. It was the same smell from her body. This happened soon after I moved to a new apartment. I had a girlfriend, Jessie, who lived around the neighborhood, and we were having a little stroll after having dinner. There was a gorgeous-looking girl passed me by in a hurry and went into one of the apartments. Jesse said, "Are you seriously staring at her when I'm right next to you? You gotta be kidding me." "What? No, I wasn't. I was just checking out the neighborhood." "Yeah, right. I know exactly what would have happened if I wasn't here." "Come on, Jesse. Not this again." While we were having an argument, a guy rushed toward us, short of breath, asked us in a hurry, "Hey, have you seen a long-haired girl in the skinny jeans?" Seemed like he was talking about the girl who just passed us. A second before my mouth started moving, Jesse stopped me and said, "Can I ask why?" He hesitated for a second, then started talking with full of pleading in the face. He said, "Actually, I was trying to make a proposal to her, but for some reason she took it wrong. I just want to apologize and take things back to where it was before." I could see Jessie putting her guards down just by looking at her face with a smile. She pointed her finger to the apartment the girl went. He rushed down to the apartment and we were just staring at him. Jessie said, "Well, that's kind of romantic." Being part of someone else's romance, our hearts were full. Suddenly, Jessie put on a serious face and said, "Wait, what kind of boyfriend doesn't even know where his girlfriend lives?" It was this moment. Something big fell down. "Please." We rushed towards the place. It was a girl, blood all over her body. Her frightened and resentful eyes were staring at us. I started to take swimming lessons from last summer. When I go for practice, I usually prefer the early morning when the pool isn't crowded with people. As I expected, the pool wasn't crowded. Despite the early time of day, there were still early birds who shared the same thought. Unlike other swimming pools, this pool had no lanes, and it gets deeper and deeper every few meters, which easily go over my height around at the midpoint. One day after a few days of lesson, it was pouring. There was no one in the pool due to the bad weather. Swimming in a spacious pool by myself, unexplainable fear rushed in. A woman of my age appeared. One of the familiar faces I usually see in the morning swim. Just by having someone else in the pool, the fear has vanished, and I started to swim again. Soon after, perhaps trying to impress her, braveness dragged my body down to the deeper side of the pool. Suddenly, I realized I couldn't move my feet. I was getting a cramp. Already in the deep side of the pool, I couldn't do anything but gulping water, trying to escape. For last, I used all my energy to shout out for help. Perhaps the woman was shocked. She was just watching me drowning. When I woke up, I was in the ambulance. Swimming coach passed by, pulled me out. I got out of the hospital the next day, but never returned to the swimming pool. It wasn't because I almost drowned. Instead, it was the woman watching me while drowning. Just before I blacked out, I remembered. She was smiling. This happened to my grandmother in the winter of early 1960s. For a grandfather who needed clean clothes the next day in a hurry, my grandmother went out to do the laundry even though it was late at night. There wasn't any laundry machine in the households back in the time, thus people in the neighborhood usually gather up at a place like well or valley to wash their clothes. Washing stick was used to get rid of dirt and stains by smacking the clothes. It was extremely unusual to do laundry late at night, and my grandmother, sitting alone in front of running water, began her job in the faint moonlight. Not long after she started, Grandma realized there was another woman washing clothes next to her. She missed her coming, perhaps because the surroundings were too dark. My granny tried to make small chat to break the silence. No reply. She was just smacking real hard. Grandmother decided not to try any harder because she thought the woman seemed too shy or not in the mood, and it was too dark to recognize who it was anyways. Soon after, the mysterious woman started to swing the stick stronger and stronger, and water splashed all over to my grandmother's side. Granny first thought it was a mistake, but soon got disturbed as she realized the woman was making stronger and stronger. Granny said, "Take it easy, you're splashing too much water on me." She stopped her swing and turned her face to Granny with silence. It was too dark, and Grandma couldn't clearly see anything, but spine-chilling crawled on her back. She packed her stuffs in a hurry and rushed home. As soon as my grandma left, the woman continued to smack her laundry. The sound didn't stop till my granny got pretty far away from the place. When she came back home, everyone was shocked. They couldn't believe what they saw. She was covered with blood all over her body. What was the woman doing beside my grandmother with the stick that night?